right, hey there challenges, Valerie Kolick. I hope you have gone through the welcome video and you have set your intention for the week. This is day one and we're really going to get started with your mindset, what you think and how that really affects your marriage and your relationship. So you'll notice that I like to tell stories, so I'm going to tell you again another little story. Right after my daughter was born, my husband and I really struggled in our marriage. Not only were we trying to figure out how to be grown-ups, which we hadn't been in a long time, which is also tough on 2 hours of sleep a night, we were also trying to do what was best for our little girl, and we were also dealing with some major challenges in our families. We were constantly arguing. Both of us, neither one of us could see each other's side of the coin, and we were filled with so much fear and we were so unsure of what we were doing. But we couldn't talk to each other about it. We couldn't lean on each other for it. We didn't understand each other's perspective. We often put blame on the other. I realized quickly that our communication habits were really taking a turn for the worse. If they kept going like this, I wasn't sure where our marriage was going. But instead of judging the situation, I started being more mindful of my own behaviors, my own thoughts, and my own feelings around all the situations. Once I started recognizing the times I was weakening my husband through blame, criticism, judgment, and demands, and weakening myself for that matter, it was much easier to change my behaviors, and then his behaviors also changed, because a relationship is a cycle, and we get stuck in cycles and habits, especially around communication, the behaviors of one another, actions of one another. So if you were to get defensive with your husband, he may withdraw, and that's a cycle. Or if he was to get defensive with you, you might respond in anger, and that's a cycle. So it's part of really understanding your own cycles to help yourself get through those. And it only takes one person to break the cycle. It takes one person to do something different to really change that cycle. So when I let go of what I thought he should do and the way he should act, and I let go of my own shoulds, I also removed always, never from my vocabulary. And then I recognized that we were both really doing the best that we could be doing at the time. So throughout these 5 days, I want you to really stay mindful of yourself and this process. Mindfulness is being fully aware in the present moment without judgment, which can be really tough. You have to really understand and know if you're putting judgment on a feeling, an emotion, a behavior, an action. This is important in your relationship because you need to be aware of your emotions, your feelings, behaviors, your triggers. Also, practicing to remove judgment of your feelings and thoughts helps to create more positive energy, which we'll also talk about in day 2. So once we become more mindful, we can start changing our mindset to serve us and our relationships. Our mindset is a collection of beliefs, thoughts, and values that we have accumulated and learned since we were born, really. So they can be a little tough to change, but sometimes they don't serve us. They help us tell our story. At one point or another, they may have protected us, but now they may not really help us. They may actually be holding us back from truly manifesting and reaching our desires and our life goals and our relationship goals. You know, individual mindsets can be especially tricky in marriages and relationships because you need to learn how to bring 2 different mindsets, 2 different backgrounds, 2 different families, 2 different cycles, 2 different personalities, and to secure your identity as a couple. So if you take responsibility for your own mindset and frame it to meet the needs of your spouse and yourself, your relationship is going to be more successful. So today's exercise, I'm going to walk you through a 6-step process for really taking responsibility of your own mindset, your actions, and your happiness. So you should have received in your packet a form that kind of looked like this. Hope you can see it okay. But what I want you to do is I want you to take a couple minutes, probably about a half an hour, 15 minutes to a half an hour today. And I want you to go through this chart and I want you to really think about it and kind of feed into it and put everything you know into it. So the first column, over here, you're going to be writing down every single possible belief that you have around marriage, your relationship, around your spouse, anything that could be possibly holding you back, any negative or unhelpful belief. So it's kind of like a brain dump. So just write anything that comes to your mind. Don't hold yourself back. Don't judge it. Just go ahead and write it down. You can burn it afterwards if you want. So one thing that I see a lot of couples say is marriage is hard work. That's just the way it's supposed to be. But is it really? I don't know. Just so write down any beliefs that you have. For an example, my spouse is lazy. He never helps with anything. She's always nagging me. Anything that comes to your mind that's been an unhelpful belief that you might have. And then in the second column, I want you to go back and next to all of your unhelpful beliefs, I want you to write down any evidence that you have that the belief is not true. So if you're saying your spouse is lazy, is that always true? Are there certain areas in his or her life where she or he is not lazy? Write down those areas. Try to see a different side, a different perspective. This is an exercise in really understanding different areas, different perspectives, and having empathy for another side. After you've gone through all of your beliefs and you wrote down some evidence about how they may not be true, I want you to go to the third one, and I want you to change your thought, third column, change your thought into a question. So how or why questions are really helpful. For the example around my spouse is lazy. So instead of he's lazy, how can I support my spouse to help around the house more? Because that's the real problem. You really need extra support. So change that belief into a question. And if you need help with this, please feel free to email me or get on the Facebook group and ask questions to help work it through, because it can be a little bit of a challenge, kind of thinking through and stepping out of the box and looking at really different perspectives. Then I want you to go to the fourth column, and for every belief, I want you to start writing possible solutions. So the last time we just asked a question, how can I support my husband in helping around the house more? So a possible solution would be to ask him. Another solution is letting him know that you appreciate it every time you do catch him doing something around the house. So again, start thinking about those things, write down some possible solutions, and once you're completed the whole chart, I have a couple more thinking out of the box questions that I want you to ask yourself. The first question is, what's going great in your relationship right now? And write down something, anything. I know it can be tough sometimes when we're in a slump, but really think back and think about what is going great, what's going good right now. Then, what do you love, admire, and appreciate about your spouse? We're going to get more into this in day 2, but go ahead and start the wheel spinning now. And then the third question, what do you want for your marriage or relationship? If you could snap your fingers and have the perfect relationship, what would this look like? And you will notice that sometimes I repeat things throughout this course. It's because I really want you to be clear, and I really want to make sure that you're getting the most out of this. And sometimes repetitive is the way to really learn. So the next one is, what can you do today to create the marriage you adore? And my little hint is to go back and look at your possible solutions. Pick 1 or 2 of them and just do them today. Write them down and do them today. Lastly, I want you to develop a daily affirmation that will help you keep a positive mindset around your marriage. And I want you to write it as in it's already happening. So instead of saying, I wish for a peaceful, supportive marriage where I feel adored, I want you to say, I am in a peaceful marriage where I feel adored. So make it as if you've already accomplished it. So that's it for day 1. I can't wait to see what you guys have said and what your thoughts are. Remember, there's the 4 questions to answer as always. So what you have learned, also something that you've learned that you haven't done before. What's something you relearned, so something that you've known, but now you're thinking about it in a different way. What's something that surprised you? And what is something that you are intrigued by and want to think about more? Remember to jump into the Facebook community or shoot me an email at valerie@kolikcoaching.com